This is the Round 2 podcast with Galen Parker and Stephanie Nicole, where we talk to big thinkers, big dreamers, and big idea havers. Quitting and failing are not the same thing, and we're going to show you why. Hey everyone, my name is Galen Parker, and I'm here with my co-host, Miss Stephanie Nicole. Stephanie Nicole, say hello.
Hey everybody.
All right, we are so happy to have you guys with us. This is episode 1, the inaugural one of the Round 2 podcast. This is something basically that Stephanie and I just made up about 10 days ago, and we are running with it. This is a podcast that's going to speak how average, everyday Joes, people like you and I, can accomplish above average feats, accomplishments in their day-to-day life due to hard work and dedication. So I thought it would make the absolute most sense if our very first guest would be none other to Stephanie Nicole. And if you have not heard her story on how she went from being number one in her own eyes to being number one in everyone else's eyes, then you need to tune in to this episode because it's a really great story. And I wanted you to hear it because I think it inspires others. Because sometimes when I listen to podcasts or I look at other shows and people are like, oh, I started my business with $100,000 seed money from my mom. That does not really inspire me. That just makes me think, oh, that's great to have wealthy parents. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If you've got that in your life, well, then good for you. There's no whole need. I believe in nepotism. Like if I can if my uncle could have put me on, then I'd be like, hey, put me on. And then if I ever have nieces and nephews, which I do, if they ever accomplish something that I respect, then I'm gonna put them on. So Stephanie Nicole, how are you doing today, buddy? Before we get into the show, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm not doing bad. I like that every time I talk, it's like talking to my business partner. You're always like, hold on, I gotta take a call. And for us in our business, busyness begets money. If your phone is not ringing, you are not eating. Would you agree?
I agree.
On average, though, how many phone calls do you think you take a day?
It just depends on the day. And a lot of my calls are outgoing calls. I prefer for me to reach out to you than you reach out to me.
Really? Okay. Why is that?
Just so you know that I'm thinking about you.
Okay. All right. I like, I'm different, man. I want my phone, the inbounds ringing.
Yeah, I want the inbound and the outbound. That's twice as many people.
Yeah. I was like, I need the inbound so that I have to call them back. But it wasn't always like that when it came to, we're not even going to talk about real estate. Obviously, full disclosure, Stephanie, Nicole, and myself, we are licensed realtors in the Commonwealth of Virginia. But the show is not necessarily about real estate. It's about being an entrepreneur. Would you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
I do. I consider myself an entrepreneur. All
right. Why is that? What are some businesses that you run? Talk to the people. Let them know what you run.
Of course, I am a licensed real estate agent. I also flip houses. I wholesale. I have a coaching business, and that's it.
You better talk to him. Don't say that's it. You better tell him what time it is. You hear what she just said. She's got a real estate business. She got a coaching business. Got a wholesale business. And unless you guys are under a rock and you've never heard of a little thing called Instagram or TikTok, you should know who Stephanie is because how many followers, if you had to guess, I'm not going to make you pull out your phone and tell us how many, but how many followers do you think you have right now?
On Instagram, maybe 90,000. On TikTok, maybe 40,000.
That's crazy to me.
What?
That's crazy to me. I mean, that's crazy good. I feel like there's a lot of no shots fired, but there's a lot of influencers that don't have that pull. But tell us, it was obviously it wasn't always like that. What did you do when you first got, since so many of your businesses are real estate related, what was your story getting into real estate? What did you do before real estate?
Any and everything. I will say that
tell us what you're comfortable telling us with.
I left home. I'm comfortable with anything. Who I am is who I am. Right. I want everybody
talk to them
that surrounds me to be comfortable with the person I am because all of my experiences added up to the version that I am today. So to be comfortable with this version, you would have to be comfortable with everything that made me. So I would say that I left home.
I told y'all gonna be sick of me. All right, what do you say? You left home.
I left home as a teenager. I just ran away because I didn't like my living situation. And I just decided that for what my life was, I just, I felt like I could provide myself a better life at 16 years old. Left home.
Okay.
Left home at 17, was moving from house to house. I was kind of on the streets, and that's what made me join the military. So I was in the military. Then I got out of the military, and from there, I was going from job to job. I would have 2 and 3 jobs at the same time, and I remember one time I was a waitress slash bartender. I was working in retail and I was a dancer. So one day at the club, I'm just like, and this a dry day at the club. Any other day, if it was money in there, I would have probably. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten to that point. So it was like a kind of like a dead night, and I'm on stage and people are just throwing $1 bills. So then I'm just calculating in my head, like I'm really doing all of this for $1 bills and still have to figure out, how I'm gonna pay rent, where my car payment gonna come from. I gotta rob Peter to pay Paul, gotta go get loans. I'm behind on my credit cards and I'm really just surviving. So I left out of there
Okay.
and just went to go sit in my car, I literally Googled, how do I become a millionaire? And a topic that kept coming up was real estate. So I was like, okay,
Okay.
I didn't know anything about real estate. This is my first time really knowing about real estate. So I went to go get my real estate license.
All right, so let's backtrack so everyone's keeping up because this is wild so far.
Okay.
You're 16 years old and you're like, I'm out. I can provide better for myself. Then you join the military. How long were you in the military?
4 years. 4 years
4
active. Yes,
years.
and I went to Afghanistan for 15 months out of those four
So
years.
in addition, oh, okay. So you all right? So you're in the military for 4 years. That's not a short period of time. Is that the minimum that you have to be in the military? I don't know these
You
things.
have to do it, well, you have to do 8 years technically. But the way I signed
You
my contract, I had to do four of them active. So
okay?
I mean, I was in active, went to Korea. I was in Korea and Afghanistan the entire time I was in the military.
What was that like?
Korea was a lot of fun. Got into a little bit of
Okay.
trouble. I had a great time. Afghanistan is the reason I was going to reenlist. Had actually signed the paperwork, went to Afghanistan. It was like, nah, I'm good. It was.
You're like, nope, I'm out.
I'm like, we are
Too
literally
hot.
no. I guess because I was so young, I didn't really put my head around the concept that I really could die doing stuff until I saw it, and I was like, okay, maybe the money's not worth it.
Okay. All right. So you're like, there's probably easier ways to make this money than almost dying,
Yeah.
I assume. So you came back, you're out of 4 years. You go from traveling the world, let's say Korea, Afghanistan, United States. You're now retired. You're retired out of active military. You're bartending, you're waitressing, you're dancing after that. Is that correct?
All at the same time. I
Okay.
used to
So you're
have,
not.
I had at least two jobs at one time for since
Okay.
I
All
was
right.
maybe like 15 years old.
So I like the fact that you're like, all right, I'm in the military. I think there's got to be a better way to make some
hmm
money. You go to dancing, and then you're like, there's got to be a better way to make some money. You Google how to become a millionaire, and then it pulls up getting your real estate license. All right, take it from there. So how is let's just talk about your first year one in real estate. How was that for you?
I was so excited when I got my license. And let me just
All right.
start with, I did not have any idea of anything. So I'm thinking I could
Okay.
just get a job because that's how we're trained. I'm thinking I'm going to get a job or a salary. So I was in for a rude awakening that we are business owners. I
Okay.
didn't know anything outside of real estate, so I struggled my entire first year. Ended up selling a house to my mom. Shout out to my mom who held me down.
What up, my mom? Go ahead, mom. That's what I talk about nepotism. I'm like, if my family go put me on, I'm gonna put them on. So there's thanks, mom.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stephanie Nicole, mom. All right. So you sold one house to Madre. After so you kind of struggle. I think a lot of people struggle, which is when you talk to new agents. Fast forwarding today, do you give them this talk of like what it's like in that first year?
Yeah, I tell people my story so that it gives them hope because anybody else would have gave up. If you go through the entire year, you sell one house. The other money I had was just me connecting with people. I might go show some houses. I was taking rentals too. If you was looking for a rental at that time, I was taking people to rental.
How much the rental pay?
$150 on average.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh yeah.
you might have to take somebody to a couple of them.
And I'm glad that you said that because I feel like when new agents come to me, they hit the DMs, they hit me on Facebook Messenger, and they're always like, "Oh, I'm getting my license." And I feel like a lot of times people do new agents or just people in general a disservice because they tell you all of the glamour, which there is a lot of cool things with real estate, right? There's like neither have I confront. You and I, we both made money in real estate. There's a lot of great stuff, but I mean it's still hard
Oh, it's
work.
hard.
And I like that you introduced it. I always tell people, I'm like, listen, you're starting a business. So if you were starting a restaurant or starting a construction company or anything, it's like all of the things that go into that are going to now go into your real estate. Like you've got pay for your own marketing,
Yes.
you got to find your own clients. Like there is no salary, no one's handing us anything. So very good. All right, so selling one deal the first year, that's probably going to be kind of tough. So how did that look after that first year? Were you just still excited? As excited?
No, I was kind of discouraged. By the time the second year had rolled around, I did make enough, relationships to where people were trying to help me. And that did like fast once we get through the story, those people do come back. But people saw me struggling, they reached out, they was trying to help me. Second year, it got to the point where I couldn't quit because I had quit my job. I had told these people I was about to be a real estate superstar and a millionaire.
I don't need I don't need you. I ain't trying to dance on your stage. I'm about to be on Selling Richmond.
I had remember I had three jobs when I quit my job. So it was like I quit three jobs. So I was like, no, I have to make this work. I cannot say something
Okay.
and have the people be like, see, she didn't complete something again, or something she said
Ooh,
didn't
okay.
happen again. So I just kept pushing forward to the point where I was actually filling out applications for like Redfin, the salary brokers that are paying like 30,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
40,000. They didn't want me. So I was like, you know what? I'm going
And
to.
I was about to say, I'm like, hey, listen, if you got to fill out a Redfin or any other like salary break, there's nothing wrong with that either. Everyone's got to hustle in their own way. But you mean they didn't want you though?
I wasn't hired. They said they needed somebody with more experience.
Okay. All right. So how did you take that loss, that fail?
I skipped over a part too. So this was my second time somebody said they didn't want me in the real estate. Not the second time, just a second instance where I tried and I felt like people were rejecting me. When I first got my
Hmm.
real estate license, I don't know if I can say like people's brokerages, but I tried to go to one brokerage.
We're gonna yeah, good, good. We're gonna leave off the brokerages,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah, you tried to go to one brokerage,
signed up with them and
popular
everything.
brokerage in the city.
Signed
Okay.
up with them and everything. At the time, I didn't have a phone. Why did they mail me?
What year was
This
this?
was probably like 2017, 2000, yeah, something like that.
All right, 2017. You don't have a cell phone.
Yes, because I left an abusive relationship, and when I left with absolutely nothing but the clothes on my back, and I left in my car. That's it. So,
And we're gonna pause right there because there's someone who's probably watching this episode right now, and they're in the same position, right? Like they're thinking to themselves, I can't. I don't want people to think, oh, I quit again. I don't want people, or there's people rejecting me, or I'm in a situation like yours that's just messed up, and there's no way out. So if you are watching this episode, listen to what she's saying. Like these are all stories where she was like, all right, I'm not satisfied with the status quo. I'm going to do something else, and so she walked away. She ain't got no phone. Talk to me, Stephanie.
yeah, so I left with nothing. I didn't have a phone. And the brokerage that said they would take me in sent me a letter in the mail and said that they were not accepting me. And when my license hadn't even got to them yet. They said when they get my license, they're going to be sending it back. I need to go talk to another broker. I go to
Okay.
every broker I can think of. Only one person would accept me at the time. And he was like, you know what? Come over here. We'll help you. We'll help you get a phone. We'll take you in. We family over here. So then that's how I
Okay.
became a realtor. Still didn't have a phone, got my phone, then struggled the first year.
Yeah, yeah.
Struggled the whole
The fact
time.
that you sold, yeah, yeah. She was out here working without a phone. Could you imagine? People can't do anything without a phone today. So it's like she's proven it's done. All right. So now that's first year. Let's. How many years have you been in real estate?
Well, I would say 6 full years.
All right. So you've been in for 6 full years. I saw a post you posted earlier today. It was like, was you say 7 years as an entrepreneur? What was it?
7 years self-employed.
7 years self-employed. All right, so now we're obviously neither one of us, none of us who are watching, none of us are at the end of our journey, but you're a long way from
Most of my business are based in real estate.
Stephanie Nicole who didn't have a phone to where you're at now. Let's just do you own your own home?
Yes.
All right, you own your own. Who pays the mortgage at that place? You or somebody
Me,
else?
I pay everything. There is no one but me.
She pays everything. There's like I want people to kind of let that soak in because I find that I meet a lot of people and they got that can't mentality. I can't do this, and that's why I like a show like this because we're telling people you
You
can if you
can.
want to. Like, yeah, it's like, and we're going to introduce you to guests who, for all intents and purposes, they shouldn't have, but they did. And that's what I like to hear. All right, so now to me, you are a boss. I respect the game. You are a boss now. You've got rental portfolio.
I do.
She's got rental portfolio, ladies and gentlemen. She don't need nobody's phone. She doesn't need anyone's brokerage. She's taking care of the things herself. If you had to go back, is there anything that you would change?
So I always say no because I'm always so happy and thankful for where I am. And then I think that everything bad that we go through are either lessons or sometimes we get stuck in a situation and we end up just staying there because maybe we can't see that we deserve more or that we feel as though we can't get more. And sometimes God gotta come in and step in for you. So some of those situations were just like you can't be here anymore.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Oh, when you do it, I like that message that to give to people. So, if you yourself, this is a question I had written down, and for you guys that are wondering, while Stephanie is my co-host for this episode, she's a guest, so she don't know none of these
I
questions.
don't.
She know what I'm about to say. Do you know what daily positive affirmations are?
I do.
All right, so if you had to write a affirmation for yourself that other people could benefit, what would it be?
For myself, that other people would benefit.
Yeah, like that you created that other people would benefit from.
All mine are like super selfish and super specific.
What? Okay.
One of them is I am a multimillionaire. That's something everybody
Okay.
can
Very
use.
good. That is something like everyone can use. I like that. I use stuff like I will impact positively the lives of everyone that I meet, and they will impact my life in a positive manner, no matter what they say or do to me.
So
That's one of the ones that I.
I'm gonna ask you this. Not
What'd you say?
I'm gonna ask you not to say I will and just be already present
Okay.
in there. So use like language that is for present tense, not future tense.
I positively impact the life of everyone who meets me, and they positively impact my life, regardless of what they say or do.
And you do.
Oh, I appreciate that. And I think that's an important one because even when people act weird towards me, I still think that they positively impact me because it helps me retool the way I'm thinking of things. Like, you can't insult me if unless I'm in a position to be insulted,
Exactly.
or a headspace where you can insult me. Like, I was talking to an agent today. He's like, Galen, man, I called, I'm doing circle prospects, and a guy calls me, he curses me out, tells me that I'm this or that, and then he's calling me back. What should I do? I'm like, well, first off, don't answer. And I was like, it doesn't matter what they say. I'm like, his negativity is not going to pay my mortgage, my electric bill. It's not going to pay any of those things. I was like, so they can't hurt me. Like, I try to impact people in a positive way. So I like it. Thank you for your affirmation. I like that. What is one big, scary, terrifying, audacious goal that you have? Maybe it's 10 years from now, other than being a multimillionaire, because you're probably pretty close up on that when we look at net worth. But what is one goal that you're just like, all right, this is what I want.
One of my goals is to be a household name in real estate throughout the country. Like I want to be like the Grant Cardone. Like when people hear his name, they automatically know who he is.
Very good. And if you guys don't know who Grant Cardone is,
That's because
I don't know what to tell y'all about him.
they don't know real estate, and that's okay. I don't want anybody
Have you met?
outside of real estate to know who I am. But when you think about real estate, the first name I want you to
I'm
think.
okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Steph. Have you met Grant Cardone?
Not in person, no.
I have.
Ah, oh, you at one of those EXP conventions?
I did. Full disclosure, we are brokered currently by EXP. But yes, I met Grant Cardone at an EXP. He is like one of those guys that his personality and my personality are different, but he's like a larger than life kind of guy, kind of like Tony Robbins is. Where it's just like they're like, oh my goodness, it's like I was like, are the lights shining brighter on this guy? And
Yeah.
he was just like turning around, just like, hey, what's going on? He was like, yeah, brother. He was like, man, this is what you guys want to do. He was like, in 20 years, they're gonna look at my kids and say that my kids are better than your kids. I mean, he was just like firing and stuff. People were all just like, what are we even talking about? Like, I was like, we just asked if you wanted some water, but I mean, he was just like, just throwing shots everywhere. So that's a cool one. You want to be a household name in real estate.
Yes.
I like that, a national household name. That's a good goal, and I don't mind that. To me, I feel like a lot of times people have like monetary goals, which there's nothing
Oh
wrong
no,
with
I
a
get the
monetary goal. You
monetary
probably should always
goal
have a
too. Like
monetary goal.
I need to get to
Exactly. I
the
was like, you should
point
always have a monetary
where
goal.
I don't make less than six figures a month.
Okay,
We're
I
gonna
like that. I like that.
put that in the
Uh,
air.
I was like, let me put that, like, let everybody hear. See, I've got a goal where it's like, I want to make an amount of money that I don't have to think about.
You
Like
can just go do
think
whatever
about how
you
much
want to
stuff and
do.
like exactly. And for me, like I always tell people it's like my overhead is very low and I keep it low on purpose. So it's like for me to reach that, it's probably closer than the other because it's like I talk to a lot of people. They're like, "Well, I got like 4 kids, or I got like student loan debt, and like I don't have any of those
We
things."
here with
So it's
this. I'm
like
trying to.
these things, these these things are attainable. And like I went to a 4 year university, but I just appreciate that my mother was she was a soldier. She didn't play about finances. She didn't play about her boys, and so neither one of her boys walked away with any like school debt or anything like that. We just
What?
well, my brother had it a little bit easier. My brother's like extremely smart, so he had like scholarships on top of scholarships. Ain't nobody playing with Saturday. But
Yes.
for me, I had a mouth too much on me, so I couldn't really be on the dean's list like he was. But she took care of business, and so
But shout
I
out to
think a
your
lot of times
mom.
it's about shout out to Cosette Parker. She's no longer with us, but she
Oh,
still gets the shout out and the praise dance. But it's about leaving legacy. What's the legacy that you're going to leave? What do you think? If you had to think like, all right, I'm gonna leave a legacy, what would it be? As we wrap up, we're at the 24 minute. We're gonna try to keep these like less than 30 minutes for you guys watching, because I know y'all trying to go to work. Y'all ain't trying to hear all this forever. But we're the last part. We just want to think about legacy. So, Stephanie, what's a legacy that you want to leave? Because I mean, you got nieces and nephews. You got do you call
honestly,
them stepkids? So how do you verse
I
how do you refer
I
to them?
have two stepkids in real life, and then I have a lot of nieces and nephews because my sisters. I don't know what's going on. I think it's like nine, or I don't see. I can't even keep count, and I only got two
How many
siblings.
sisters do you have?
Two siblings.
It's like the yours. Is that okay?
Yeah. So
Are they West Indian? I mean, that's like some West Indian math right there. My family's West Indian, so I can talk that. All right, so you got some nieces and nephews. So the legacy you're going to leave them.
the legacy that I'm thinking of is a little bigger than just me and my family. I want to be such an influence in the real estate world that it forces people to concentrate on affordable housing, because I just feel like as it goes right now, if we keep trending in the same direction, it'll get to the point where only the rich can afford homes. So I want to be that change. Like people say, be the change you like to see. I want to be that change.
Very good. I like that because it is not easy to buy a home. It's we do our best to help,
No,
but
hold on, hold on.
it's
Let's
getting
let's
expensive.
let's back up. It is easy. You just gotta make a few dollars. Like the process itself, anybody can purchase a house if you have enough money, like enough income. That's the only thing that holds you back.
Good credit.
Credit can be fixed.
Credit can be fixed. You know what? I said this to a mortgage. I want to start talking to kids in high
We
school.
need to. You know what? We're gonna get together on
I,
something.
all right, it's like I want to talk to kids in high school because it's like I don't know why no one's telling kids about credit or like savings account, and it's like I don't want to blame the entertainment, but I mean people just see money and they just got to spend it, and I'm just like no, like you could really ball out at a young age if you just save your money and take advantage of like these house hacking programs or
Yes.
these first time home buyer programs. Like the government's like, hey, if you got good credit, we'll give you money. It's like, but we've got to get to this. So maybe we got to get them young.
Gotta get them
That
young.
that's our. We're gonna put that down. I'm gonna write that down as our 2024. I want to talk to some young. I used to talk to the kids at the Binary Correctional Facility, but that might have got them to a little bit too late. I would go like every 2 weeks. We would go there, but that some of them were. I won't say everybody. No one's a lost cause, but they were a little bit down the pipeline. So I want to get them a little bit before that to have a conversation with them.
Right.
So I like ending on legacy. Stephanie Nicole, you've been an excellent first guest on the round two. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're thinking, well, why round two? Round two is just kind of like that's your second wind. A lot of us get knocked down in that round one, but what are you going to do in round two? It's a fresh start. What can you do? We want to hear more stories about people who struggled. I want to hear stories about people who failed at businesses and still keep going. Maybe they didn't become a millionaire, but they're paying their bills and they're just waiting for their second win to do something else. I
I
think
love
that's
it.
going to be exciting. I love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. If you have not done so, and I should have said so in the beginning, feel free to like and subscribe down here below. This video will likely be eventually on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You're going to see the shorts as well. We're going to upload it to iTunes, Podbeam, podcasts, all those things so that you guys can take a quick listen. But if you haven't done, keep up with us. Be notified that when we coming out live, we're going to do some lives just to kind of introduce guests as we put them on the show. So stay up with us. Stephanie and Nicole, how can they reach you on social media?
My name is Stephanie Nicole, RVA on everything.
On everything. And I am _Galen Parker. If you need to find me, feel free to hit those DMs. I'm happy to help. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Galen Parker, and this is Stephanie Nicole. This is the Round 2 podcast.
See you later.